Hello, mathematicians. This is Mrs. Shopper coming to you with a lesson on relations. Relations in math. What does that mean? How do we represent them? All right, so it's going to be a short lesson today on that, and you're going to have some time to practice. A relation is any set of ordered pairs. Highlight, underline, star, circle, whatever you need to do on this notes page. A relation is a set of ordered pairs. That's it. Now, you can represent ordered pairs in a variety of ways. You can represent them as ordered pairs. You can represent them as a t-table. Right? So like my ordered pair here would be 1, 6 or -3, 2. So you can represent it as a t-table. You can represent ordered pairs as a map. Now, I don't know if you've seen maps before, but a map takes and lists all of your inputs, all of your x values. On the left side, on the right side are all of your outputs, all of your y values, and it draws a line connecting the input with the output. That's what a map does. It's important to draw those lines from your input to your output so that you can see what the pairs are. So for example, -3, 2 is an ordered pair, or -1, -5 is an ordered pair. You can also represent it on a graph. You can also represent it on a graph. So for example, this would be 2, 3. That's the ordered pair. So I'm able to graph or represent ordered pairs in a lot of different forms. And again, this year, our focus, like we talked about when we discussed the graphing stories, is to really be able to look at those different forms and different ways to represent data points. And then by the end of the year, our goal is just to flow between those with no problem at all. Right now it gets a little messy because we're just learning it and we're practicing it, right? So you can represent a relation in all these different ways. Within a relation, we focus on two important parts, the domain and the range. And I know you talked about that in 7th grade, but that was so long ago that it's good to recall and remember and remind ourselves. So the domain is the set of the first numbers in the ordered pairs. But what if we don't list an ordered pair? Okay, our domain is also known as the x value. It's also known as the input. And it's also known as the independent. All right, I want you to pause the video and write those down. It's important to know that all of those represent the same thing. No, really, pause it and write this down in your notes, okay? All right, your range is the set of the second numbers in an ordered pair. All right, we can also call the range the y value. The range is also the output. The range is also the dependent. Those are all the different names that we can use to represent range. Okay, write those down. We're going to be using those words interchangeably throughout the year, and it's important that you understand what those are. I'm going to go back one slide, and I want to talk about domain and range. For this t-table, if the direction was list the domain and list the range, what I would do is write domain, and I would list 1, -3, 5, -1, 4. I would actually list all of those x values, all of the input values. My range, I would do the same. The range is 6, 2, 0, -5, I see that I have 2 twice. I don't have to list it twice. You can just list it once. Also, I'm not super picky about listing them in order from least to greatest. Just list them. I want to know, do you know what the domain is? Do you know what the range is? If I'm looking at this this graph down here, and I want to list my domain and range, let me switch up my colors here. So my domain is all of the X values, right? So it's going to be -6. It's going to be 2. It's going to be 2 and 3. And it's going to be 5. All of the X values of each of the ordered pairs. That's my domain. The range is going to be all of the Y values. I've got 3. I've got -4. So I only have 2 different range values. It's listing all of those. From a map over here, if I wanted to list the domain, it's going to be all of my inputs. -3, -1, 1, 4, and 5. The range is going to be -5, 0, 2, and 6. So one of the things we're going to be asking you to do with this practice is to be able to identify the domain and range, and then to be able to take a set of data and display it in each of these forms. Have a great day. Stop recording.